moment because this is originally a live broadcast if you're watching this delayed, for people to catch up on the chat. This is the live stream. I am your host, Heavenly Father, Kevin Williams, and what we like to do is fact check things as they happen. Plus, we have you guys chatting in that window over there. So join us live next time if you're watching this delayed. It takes a few seconds for the live feed to get out there. Once we get it going, we'll get going with Senator Paul. Let me check in on, I'm looking at the YouTube feed here. It is live. Let me turn that on, and I'm going to check into the room and see if the chat is working yet. The chat system that we're using sometimes works well, sometimes does not. We'll find out in a second here. As soon as I see somebody chat, we're good to go. Guys, if you're watching out there on Twitter or YouTube, go ahead and say something. Say hello to everybody so that I know that the chat is on and that we are broadcasting. Guys, here's an echo of me. And and it looks like maybe the YouTube chat isn't working. Guys, if you're watching on Twitter, say hello. I'm going to check out the Twitter feed as well, and we'll get going here as soon as I know that people are here. Looks like one feed is up.
Relative to what?
Hold on. Let me go into this feed right here on Periscope. And I'm checking you guys out on Periscope to see if anybody is chatting in there yet. Yeah, 17 people are watching on Periscope. Doesn't look like the chat is working there either. So I'll do what I can to get that working. The system that I use to simulcast everything called Restream has had issues with the chat lately. What I'm going to do is put the YouTube chat up over there. If you're watching on Twitter and you want to be part of the chat, just head on over to youtube.com/KevinlyFather, and we'll get going as soon as I get that up. We've done that a couple of times in the last couple of days, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem to get that running. Here it comes. Chris Wilson, I see you in there. Stephanie as well. Good to see you. Let me pull up that. Oh, it's there already. Okay, so this is what we'll do tonight, guys. We'll have, until further notice, we'll have the YouTube chat, and I'll bring the browser chat just in case it works. Let me just do a test on the Periscope chat. And I want to log in, Periscope. Oh, for the love of Kevin. Redirecting you. Hold on. Let me see if I can get the chat going here. Let's see if Periscope is working. Periscope is working. So if you're watching on Periscope and you want to chat, that is working. I'll keep both feeds up here. Give me just a second. I'm going to move the Periscope feed up, and we're going to have the YouTube chat down below. So we should be able to see both chats. So, Periscope at the top, Twitch at the top, YouTube down below. Let's get going. This is Senator Rand Paul constantly checking over his shoulder for his neighbor who doesn't like the way he cuts grass. Let's move on.
Donald Trump and I met many years ago before he was
Tonight's theme, Joe Biden wants to kill your children.
running for anything. When I first met him, I recall being struck by how down-to-earth he was. He seemed like just a normal guy. Okay, a normal guy with his own plane and helicopter, but who's counting? I was planning a medical mission.
That's not a count. You don't
trip to Guatemala to perform charity eye surgery.
Like if you're doing numbers, like a normal guy with $3 billion, but who's counting, that's the counting joke. A plane and a helicopter, I counted them, one each.
And we needed money to fund the trip.
Oh, the drinking word is Biden tonight. So if you're just joining us, we like to have a drinking word. Feel free to partake in whatever you want to drink. I have tonight some QAnon Comet Pizza Blood of Children and Blood of Infants, too, for when things get really, really serious. So our word tonight is Biden. Moving on. By the way, if you're trying to chat and it's not working for you on whatever platform, go to youtube.com/KevinlyFather. If you want to support this broadcast, this is what we do, drink truth to power. Go to KevinlyFather.com. Guys, let me know how the audio is.
Donald Trump offered to help and immediately came through for us. Not only did he support my medical mission to Guatemala, but he also contributed to another mission trip to Haiti a year later. We performed hundreds of cataract surgeries in both countries. Nothing is more amazing than removing the bandages from a person's eyes and watching them as they see their loved ones again. Donald Trump helped me make that happen.
Working with Trump, can you give you a cataract? You want to know.
A few years later, we were opponents, both running for president, and we all know how that turned out.
What did I call Rand? I call him Ron?
But I'm proud of the job Donald Trump has done as president. I don't always agree with him, but our occasional policy differences are far outweighed by our significant agreements. But more important than simple agreement is accomplishment. President Trump gets things done. When some in Congress wanted a so-called revenue-neutral tax plan, Donald Trump and I worked together to make sure that it was a true tax cut. I brought President Trump an idea for better, less expensive health insurance called Association Health Plans. Donald Trump overturned years of red tape and bureaucrats, and he made it happen. While others talked about criminal justice reform, President Trump actually signed the First Step Act, the first real reform in a generation, and one that sought to undo the harm that others, like Joe Biden, have done. For those of us who lament the Biden crime bill that locked up a generation of young black men, remember that Biden
This is what I've been saying for years, folks, and this is what the Times had an article about this morning. Hillary lost, and for many, many reasons. But the mathematical reason that Hillary lost is everybody else showed up and voted the same as they voted the last few elections. White males, African-American females, Asians, male and female, everybody was the same. African-American females who show up for the Democratic Party more than any other particular bloc, they showed up, they were down slightly. African-American males, compared to how they voted for Obama, were down 12% in swing states. So you'll notice a common theme starting last night, going through tonight, etc. It's going to be all about appealing to African-American males to vote for Trump because they believe, especially in states like Pennsylvania and Michigan, that those African-American males will make that 10,000 vote difference that can win those states, like in Michigan. Whether the African-American males vote for Trump or just don't vote at all, which was the case in 2016. That's the key. Check out the article in the Times this morning. It's actually, I don't know, I haven't read it. It's probably anti-Semitic, and I'm telling you guys, and then I won't be able to speak at the RNC. That's a reference to something that's actually happened. One of the speakers from tonight was scratched because she retweeted some anti-Semitic globalists are going to take over the world crap.
About a bill
and claimed she hadn't read it.
That still wreaks havoc among people of color. I'm supporting President Trump because he believes, as I do, that a strong America cannot fight endless wars. We must not continue to leave our blood and treasure in Middle East quagmires. I flew with him to Dover Air Force Base to honor 2 soldiers whose remains were coming home from Afghanistan. I'll never forget that evening. I can tell you the president not only felt the pain of these families, but that the president is committed to ending this war. President Trump is the first president in a generation to seek to end war rather than start one. He intends to end the war in Afghanistan. He is bringing our men and women home. Madison once wrote, "No nation can preserve its freedom in the midst of continuous warfare." I'm proud to finally see a president who agrees with that. Compare President Trump with the disastrous record of Joe Biden, who has consistently called for more war. Joe Biden voted for the Iraq War, which President Trump has long called the worst geopolitical mistake of our generation. I fear Biden will choose war again. He supported the war in Serbia, Syria, Libya. Joe Biden will continue to spill our blood and treasure. President Trump will bring our heroes home. If you hate war like I hate war.
You guys remember President Trump's comment on the Iraq War? This is him on the Howard Stern show.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
Yeah, that's his comments on the Iraq War. So Biden voted for it, but President Trump, who said many, many times that he is now against it, was against it at the time. Yeah, I guess so.
If you want us to quit sending $50 billion every year to Afghanistan to build their roads and bridges instead of building them here at home, you need to support President Trump for another term. So to our
He's been there for 4 years. He could have done from... Did he ever think of something like Infrastructure Week?
soldiers and their families, join me in supporting President Trump. To those of you who want lower taxes and better, less expensive health care, join me in supporting President Trump. To those of you who want to stand up...
6 more days till tremendous health care, people.
And fight the socialists poisoning our schools and burning our cities, join me in supporting President Trump. Let's rebuild America together.
Okay, wait, is it the socialists or is it the anarchists that are burning our cities? Because those guys don't get along. Well, that was it. Okay. That's it for Rand. Moving on. There's the flag.
Call your everyday man, the forgotten man or woman, the people that wake up every morning, go to work, do their job, come home to their kids and families, and are faithful and consistent. The people that have built America.
There are people in our country that have been forgotten, that are hard workers. We do not hold signs. We are not on street corners. We are waking up at the crack of dawn, working and earning our living.
But every single day, men and women from across this country are affecting people in positive ways.
Real people that work hard every day, and they just want to earn a good living and enjoy life.
And he really knows them, understands them. It's clear he has been on the job site, interacting with people from all backgrounds.
Yeah, the guy who literally lives in a country club.
I've never had someone care so.
This man has multiple, not just one, has multiple golden towers. But he understands. Hey, that's the lady who was dancing to Michael Jackson in Pennsylvania. I love her. Like I said in my tweet, she's a goddamn American hero. And you know what? Twitter took it down for copyright violation because of the song. She was dancing to Billie Jean. I'm going to see if I can find her and play like 2 seconds of her because she was awesome. But yeah, Twitter took it and suspended me, suspended my account because I had Michael Jackson going up there. So get ready, Twitter. I'm going to show a very brief clip of her because she's awesome. Anyway, she wasn't standing there clapping for President Trump. She was dancing to Billie Jean. That's her dancing to Billie Jean. That's the only thing, but it's a black person. Remember what I said about the black voting bloc? It's a black person, looks like she's standing up and all by her, yes, President Trump. No, she's all, Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who, she was awesome. I'm gonna find her. That is my promise to you. I might be able to find her.
So much about making sure people have job security.
The president's job is to protect us, keep us safe, and help make our life better and the opportunity to pursue the American dream. That's what Donald Trump is doing.
As a cattle rancher and a farmer, I do feel that we are not forgotten with this administration. We have hope for preserving our industry.
My hope is that we lift the regulations that have stripped away the working class Americans' ability to do what they innately know how to do best.
I feel like Trump is definitely pushing more for the steel mills, the fishermen, just us making our own products and bringing everything in. He's pushing so hard, and I see it truly coming alive.
I do feel that President Trump has the interests of all those Americans tied together. I really do.
Good evening. My name is Jason Joyce, and I'm an 8th-generation lobster fisherman from Swans Island, Maine. I make my living from lobster fishing, oyster farming, and providing eco tours in the beautiful waters near Acadia National Park, where I have over 200 years of family history. I have to confess, I didn't support Trump in 2016. Skeptical that he shared my conservative views, I expected him to flip-flop on his campaign promises. But he has followed through on his promises, including last week when he brokered a deal to end European Union tariffs of 8% on Maine live lobsters and up to 20% on Maine lobster products, which is great news for Maine's lobstermen and women. I live on an island with 370 residents, and lobstering is how we provide for our families. Maine's lobstermen are true environmentalists. We practice conservation every day. If we didn't, we'd be putting ourselves out of business. 4 years ago,
guys.
the Obama-Biden administration used the Antiquities Act to order thousands of square miles of ocean off limits to commercial fishermen. They did it to cater to environmental activists. Although Maine's lobstermen don't fish there, Obama's executive order offended us greatly. It circumvented the Fisheries Council's input. President Trump reversed that decision, reinstating the rules that allow stakeholder input, and he supports a process that seeks and respects fishermen's views. As long as Trump is president, fishing families like mine will have a voice. But if Biden wins, he'll be controlled by the environmental extremists who want to circumvent long-standing rules and impose radical changes that hurt our coastal communities. I strongly support President Trump's re-election. When he sees something isn't right, he's fearless in fixing it. He listens to working people. He nominates judges who respect the Constitution and the right to life. He keeps his word, like eliminating the European tariffs and moving the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. I hope you will join me this time in voting for President Trump. Stand up for your country. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chris Peterson. My husband Gary, our family, and I milk 1,000 cows on a dairy farm in Grantsburg, Wisconsin, a small middle American town. Truth be told, until I married my cute farmer from Grantsburg a long time ago, I was a city slicker from Minneapolis, which is about 70 miles south of us. Donald Trump became president in the middle of the Great Depression for dairy farmers in Wisconsin. In 2016, prices were horrible, and longtime generational farms across the nation were going out of business. In 2017, our 120-year-old barn, which served as our milking center, caught fire and burned to the ground. Our cows were spared, but because they needed to be milked 3 times a day, farmers, friends, and complete strangers from all over northern Wisconsin helped haul them to other farms where they stayed until we could rebuild. By the end of 2018, we had a new state-of-the-art robotic milking facility that allows our cows to milk themselves 3 times a day. At about the same time, President Trump's economic boom began helping dairy farmers across the nation. As a businessman, President Trump understands that farming is a complicated, capital-intensive, and risky business. More than any president in my lifetime, he has acknowledged the importance of farmers and agriculture. That support and focus on negotiating new trade deals gave us the confidence to rebuild our barn and dairy operation. Business was booming again, and business boomed right until the COVID-19 shutdown in March. Many people probably don't realize that our country is one of the few in the world that produces nearly all of its own food. Fewer still understand how close our food production and distribution system came to collapsing this past spring. But President Trump understood and again took steps to provide the supports we needed. President Trump took the necessary action knowing that agriculture is our backbone and strength, critical to our national security. Our entire economy and dairy farming are once again roaring back. One person deserves the credit and our vote, President Donald J. Trump.
Okay, yeah, Trump. Awesome, guys, I found it. Okay, remember a few minutes ago, for those of you just joining us, hi, welcome to the live stream. This is what we do. We chat truth to power. I'm your host, Kevin Lee Father. If you'd like to support me, send me money here or go to kevinleefather.com. A few minutes ago, the Trump campaign used a picture of a black lady with blue hair standing up and applauding like she was, "Go, President Trump!" That's the impression that the ad gave by the use of this woman in their ad. Not true. This is Allentown, Pennsylvania, May 14th this year. This woman was dancing to Billie Jean. I actually tweeted this and called her a goddamn American hero. Twitter took it down because of the copyright of Billie Jean. I am going to play it with the music, and it's going to be very quick, but check this lady out. You'll see, very distinctive, black lady, yellow shirt, blue hair. That's her. Okay, that's all I can play. I'll get a copyright strike from YouTube and Twitter if I play more. She was not standing up clapping for President Trump. The commercial is completely misleading. She's dancing to Michael Jackson. Look at this. Look at this. She is a goddamn American hero, I'll tell you that. There she is. Let's play a little bit more. Is not my son. Yeah! I love her! And she ends up in a Trump commercial. Oh, boy. Moving back to Rand Paul. That is a fat check. Let's see what else is going on here.
What was happening prior to President Trump, you had businesses that were overregulated, not a friendly environment at all to start a company.
My family stopped ranching about 7 years ago. The regulations became so overbearing that the ranch was slowly sold off.
I lost businesses because of these regulations.
The factories in our town closed. The businesses in our towns have shut. It got to the point finally that middle America needed help. President Trump came in and was able to shed light on an area that had been so long left behind. Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was huge, especially for a community like ours that has a lot of small businesses, manufacturing, deregulation, fair trade, real life policy.
Manufacturing was in contraction before the COVID virus got here. Contraction. 50,000 fewer manufacturing jobs last year than the year before. Trump has even showed charts that show since Obama, manufacturing has gone down, and then come COVID, which he didn't handle, and it fell off a cliff. Now it's coming back a little bit, but it hasn't come up that side of that cliff yet.
Policy changes that
Super V
affected real Americans.
An amazing opportunity to get ahead, to have our businesses, to have our children educated.
Thank you, Dan.
Of school choice.
That is something that's huge for parents right now, especially black moms whose kids are
School choice is a state issue, but yeah.
trapped in failing school districts.
Before COVID hit, black unemployment rate was at the lowest ever.
I've seen the numbers of employees go up, and they're earning a lot.
There's the appeal to the black voter.
More for their family than what they had previously.
What this administration...
That's the same place. They just pulled the Allentown video up. Whoever's doing the editing found like one speech. There's the Allentown one.
Has done simplifying the government. It's really cut the handcuffs off of America again and allowed us to grow and move forward in a way that I have never seen in my lifetime.
When you pull regulation and allow small companies to go out there and be able to play in the game, that is the American dream.
People feel that they can support and have a family, and it can build and make us stronger as Americans.
What could be taken away if he doesn't win again?
Joe Biden said
President Trump is the one human being that doesn't understand how to hold a thumbs up. That's a thumbs up. Pretty simple to do. Every picture of him, he's like, he's just not normal. Who's like that?
said the first thing he's going to do is increase taxes on everyone.
Over-regulating and making it where a small business can't grow. That's taking away the American dream.
I think with the upcoming election, people just need to think about what is better for them and their family.
The president's job is to be the CEO of our country, and he's doing his job.
He has improved jobs, he's improved health, he's improved wages, he's cut taxes. I could go on for...
He's improved health? Oh, does this guy have the phenomenal plan already?
An hour and a half.
The plan was working. Everybody had a job, making money, spending money. Boom, bada bang, boop, we good.
My kids are gonna look.
African American employment still twice as high as white unemployment before the COVID virus.
Up to me and say, you are the best mom for working, raising us. It's just tremendous what I could do, I guess.
This is
Because of Trump?
somebody who loves his country. He's truly fighting for the American people.
Hello, folks. You know me from TV and radio. I'm Larry Kudlow. Years ago, I worked for Ronald Reagan. More recently, I helped the team craft Donald Trump's economic plan during the campaign. It was a roaring success. Inheriting a stagnant economy on the front end of recession, the program of tax cuts, historic rollback of onerous regulations that...
No, they did not inherit a stagnant economy. They inherited the Obama economy that has grown steadily at a steady pace, the longest continuous job growth in history. But yeah, on the brink of recession.
Crippled small business.
Remember, he said that we had the virus contained. Not 100% airtight, but contained. That's what he said.
Energy to become the world's #1 producer, and free, fair, and reciprocal trade deals to bolster manufacturing, agriculture, technology, and other sectors. The economy was rebuilt in 3 years. Unemployment fell to the lowest rate of 3.5%. Blue collars, African Americans, Hispanics, women, all groups benefited enormously. African American lowest rate of 3 was rebuilt in 3 years. Unemployment fell to the lowest rate of 3.5%.
Nice.
Blue collars.
The lowest rate doesn't say ever. Doesn't say in the last 10 years. Just says the lowest rate of 3.5%. That is not the lowest rate of the...
African Americans, Hispanics, women, all groups benefited enormously. Everyone.
Except for white females and males. I mean, we all did. But it was not historically low unemployment.
Everyone was better off. A rising tide lifted all boats. Then came a once-in-100-year pandemic. It was awful. Health and economic impact.
It was awful. Past tense.
Were tragic. Hardship and heartbreak were everywhere. But
were everywhere. Past tense.
Presidential leadership came swiftly and effectively with an extraordinary rescue for health and safety to successfully fight the COVID virus. A great
That's it. We've been successful, everybody. I'm going to go play hockey at a bar.
Partisan rescue also saved the economy. Right now, our economic health is coming back. With emergency spending and tax cuts, Americans are going back to work. There's a housing boom, there's an auto boom, a manufacturing boom, a consumer spending boom. Stocks are in record territory. A V-shaped recovery is pointing to better than 20% growth in the second half of this year. Now looking at
20% growth off a 33% dip. All of those that booming, we lost 33%. We might gain 20% back.
Ahead, more tax cuts and regulatory rollback will be in store. Payroll tax cuts for higher wages, income tax cuts for the middle class, capital gains tax cuts for investment, productivity, and jobs. Much more regulatory relief for small businesses. In economic terms, folks, this is no time for a $4 trillion tax hike. Coming out of the deep pandemic, who in their right mind would pick the pockets of taxpayers and drain money from their wallets and purses? Look, our economic choice is very clear. Do you want economic health, prosperity, opportunity, and optimism?
Yes.
Or do you want to turn back to the dark days of stagnation, recession, and pessimism?
Under Bush, you're talking about under Bush or the current recession? Which recession are you referring to? Because Obama dug us out of the recession and he put Joe Biden in charge of that. This you can't. You can rewrite history, specifically if you're on the Texas Board of Education. But anyway, that's not...
I believe there can't be better economic policies than we've had in recent years. So I say, stay with them. Thank you.
Like the tariffs that hurt the fisherman guy who was the lobster guy from earlier. The reason America lost half of their lobster export to the EU because Canada did not have a tariff with Europe. The EU had a tariff of lobsters with America because President Trump was passing tariffs on Europe. And so they said, okay, here's so we weren't on an even playing field with Canada. So Canada wiped our ass with lobsters. Not recommended. Not either way, not a good smell. Okay, right away with this guy. I mean, right? Is everyone with me? This guy.
I'm John Peterson, owner of a second-generation metal fabrication business called
Works with Metal.
Judy Metals. We've been stamping our products and services made in the USA since 1957. My brother and I purchased the business from my uncles almost 38 years ago. What was a 12-person shop has now grown into a company employing 165 people today.
Awesome.
Like most companies that are successful over the long run, we had to reinvent ourselves as the market changed. 6 years ago, we invested heavily in our business, just as a great recession appeared. Barack Obama and Joe Biden, two career politicians.
Oh, hold on. Guys, was there a recession in 2014 that I'm unaware of? Well, of which I'm unaware. I'm sorry, for those of you in the audience who speak English.
Who knew nothing about business, couldn't get the government out of our way, and it put our business in a tailspin. Sadly, we were forced to make decisions, which included cutting staff, a torturous experience when our employees are like family. The Obama-Biden era banking regulations left us no choice. It tied our lenders' hands, and it deprived us of the lifeblood of our business, capital. We scratched and we clawed for 2 years, and then everything changed. Donald Trump was elected president, and he knew what it was like to build a company and create jobs. One of the first things he did was to cut red tape and put an end to draconian-type banking regulations. He also cut...
Oh, I see. He has a problem with the banking regulations that were passed under Obama-Biden because the banks gave us a recession in 2008 with spurious lending practices. So he wanted the spurious lending practices back so that he could get money. Okay, now I understand. I get it. But this guy, huh? Look at him. That guy.
Taxes on small businesses, allowing us to be more competitive both domestically and internationally. In fact, we increased revenues by 25% for 2 years in a row. By getting rid of the job-killing NAFTA and negotiating the U.S.-Mexican-Canada trade agreement, President Trump ensured a more competitive playing field for American companies. Even with all the challenges presented by the coronavirus, President Trump is rebuilding, and our economy is roaring back again. But when I hear that Joe Biden is ready to raise taxes, crush us with regulations, and weaken our international trade...
Reverse the Trump tax cut that got you 78 cents a week, but increased the debt by $1 trillion and gave the top 1% $30,000 a year that somehow didn't materialize in all those jobs that we were promised.
Position?
Just FYI, the job growth under Trump before the coronavirus, and for some reason, we're not allowed to count that. Like that just never happened. Like we're not in the middle of that right now. But let's just say, before the coronavirus, job growth under President Trump was slower than the equivalent period under President Obama. Slower. He slowed job growth.
I shudder. We simply cannot endure a Biden-induced recession. Some will struggle, some will not survive.
How did we have an Biden-produced recession? There was no recession. They inherited a recession and dug us out of it and tripled the stock market. But okay.
and working men and women of America will get crushed yet again. This is not time to hand our government over to a washed-up career politician who will be nothing but a puppet of the radical left Democrats. As a lifelong resident of Wisconsin, I'm a fan of the Badger football team. Many may not realize that the Wisconsin Badgers and the president share three common qualities. They are smart, they're tough, and they're dependable. As a businessman, I can tell you that those qualities we need in our country's leader, and that's why we need to re-elect Donald J. Trump. Thank you, and God bless America.
All right. There we go. Here's somebody else.
Good evening. I'm Sissy Graham Lynch, and I'm honored to speak to you tonight about something that is so important to all of us, our faith.
You know, honestly, though, I loved her on the Gilmore Girls.
As Americans, we know the first line of the First Amendment protects our freedom of religion. But what we often forget, the actual words are free exercise of religion. That means living out our faith in our daily lives, in our schools, in our jobs, and yes, even in the public square. Our founders did not envision a quiet, hidden faith. They fought to ensure that the voices of faith were always welcomed, not silenced, not bullied.
Except in government.
But during the Obama-Biden administration, these freedoms were under attack. Democrats tried to make faith organizations pay for abortion-inducing drugs. Democrats tried to force adoption agencies to violate their deeply held beliefs. Democrats pressured schools to allow boys to compete in girls' sports and use girls' locker rooms. Those are the facts.
Are they?
But then, we, the people, elected Donald Trump. People of faith suddenly had a fierce advocate in the White House. He appointed judges who respect the First Amendment. He supported religious beliefs in court. He ensured religious ministries would not be forced to violate their beliefs. He withdrew the policies that placed our little girls at risk. And on the world stage, President Trump became the first president.
One of his first acts was to sign an executive order that overturned the Johnson Amendment, which of course has never taken effect because you can't overturn a congressional law with an executive,
to talk about the importance.
But these people all believe somehow that the Johnson Amendment is now just, it doesn't matter because President Trump.
Importance of religious freedom at the United Nations, giving hope to people of faith around the world.
Oh yeah, no, Trump loves her. She's gorgeous and she just does not understand what she's saying.
In America, we have not yet experienced physical persecution, even though the left has tried to silence us.
No, this literally hurts me. Doing this, watching you, it literally hurts me.
Even during the pandemic, we saw how quickly life can change.
During the pandemic. It's over, folks. Everybody's talking about it in the past tense. This is a different reality. I don't know. Do you not see people wearing masks around town? Are you allowed to go into restaurants where you are at full capacity? Do you not hear the news that 180,000 Americans are dead? And everyone has stopped dying? Am I living in a different reality? Maybe it's me.
Some Democratic leaders tried to ban church services, while marijuana shops and abortion clinics. Democratic leaders tried to ban church services.
What do they try to ban them to?
While marijuana shops and abortion clinics were declared essential. But you know what truly is essential? Our right to worship freely.
Well, abortion is a medical procedure? Is that confusing to anybody?
And live our faith in every aspect of life. The Biden-Harris
I want a flu shot. Selfish producer Joanna hogging all the flu shots. Watch, we're going to get low on flu shots because of producer Joanna.
Vision for America leaves no room for people of faith. Whether you're a baker, a florist, or a football coach, they will force the choice between being obedient to God or to Caesar.
They keep saying that Biden never leaves the basement. Where does he go? On Sundays, he goes to church. He's a devout Catholic. But yeah, he's looking to ban God.
Because the radical left's God is government power.
Is it?
So in the words of my grandfather, Billy Graham, let us stand for political freedom,
there it
freedom,
is.
religious freedom, and the rights of all Americans. And let's never give in to those who would attempt to take it from us.
Okay.
Tonight, I'm proudly standing in that public square.
Yeah.
And I hope and pray you will join me in voting to re-elect President Trump.
Okay, then.
Iron Range of Minnesota. I am Bob
That makes
Vasilevich,
sense.
Mayor of Eveleth, a small town in the Iron Range of Minnesota.
I love his
My
accent.
father and grandfather earned their livings mining the raw materials that made the steel that built America. This election is a make or break for workers who are carrying on the legacy of men like them. Since the Iron Range economy is vulnerable to economic trends and to foreign trade, we have always needed a strong voice in Washington. We looked to Democrats to fill that void for many years because we actually thought they cared about our welfare. Not anymore.
No.
The radical environmental movement has dragged the Democratic Party so far to the left they can no longer claim to be advocates of the working man. This is hard for me to say because I am a lifelong Democrat. But for far too long, members of both parties allowed our country to be ripped off by our trading partners, especially China, who dumped steel into our markets and slapped tariffs on our products. And what did so-called leaders like Joe Biden do? Nothing. The human cost has been devastating.
Well, there was the WTO, and 21 suits were filed. We won 19 of them against China. But yeah, I mean, other than that, though.
We lost thousands of jobs. We lost a generation of young people who had to leave the Iron Range to find a livelihood.
Yeah.
And worst of all, we lost hope. Then something unexpected happened. A straight-talking New Yorker burst onto the scene, promising to stand up to China and the rest of the world on behalf of the American worker. 4 years later, the Iron Range is roaring back to life, and we have one man to thank, President Donald Trump. He made good on his promises by cutting our taxes, rolling back senseless regulations, and delivering trade deals that put America's interests first. But the fight is not over. Joe Biden has allowed radicals like AOC to craft his environmental policies. Their so-called Green New Deal is a job-killing disgrace dreamt up by people who don't live in the real world. But Biden is too weak, too scared, and too sleepy to stand up to the radical left. He has been doing nothing in Washington for 47 years. Why would year 48 be any different? President Trump won't back down to anybody. He delivered the best economy in our history, and he will do it again for all of us. The Iron Range's economic future and survival is at stake, and so is America's. We know we can count on President Trump to fight for us and win. Let's make sure he wins on November 3rd. God bless America.
My name is Abby Johnson, and I spent 8 years working for Planned Parenthood, but today I'm a pro-life activist. When I was in college, Planned Parenthood approached me at a volunteer fair. They talked about helping women in crisis and their commitment to keep abortion safe.
Just a comment on U.S. iron and steel. The stock was at the beginning or the middle of 2017. It was at 2,400. It is currently at 1869. So, go Trump.
Safe, legal, and rare. I was convinced to volunteer and later offered a full-time job as a medical assistant before my promotion to director of the clinic. I truly believed I was helping women, but things drastically changed in 2005.
Make sure he...
My name is Abby Johnson.
Yeah, this is Abby Johnson. So this lady has a couple of beliefs. She's very religious. She adopts kids, which is awesome. I got brother, sister who's adopted. That's great. That's wonderful. I'm all about adoption. She's an anti-abortion activist. She once said in a YouTube video, and I have that video, she has deleted that video, that she understands, it doesn't upset her that police might look at her brown son when he's grown up and judge him more harshly, because that's smart. Because statistically, he's much more likely to commit a violent crime than her white sons. She said this in a video. I have the video. If anybody wants to watch the video, let me know. We'll scan through it. But that's Abby Johnson. Abby also says that we should have one vote per household. You should have a household vote. And the way God would want it is that the man would decide what that vote would be. So she's got good ideas too. Really. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Years working for Planned Parenthood, but today I'm a pro-life activist. When I was in college, Planned Parenthood approached me at a volunteer fair. They talked about helping women in crisis and their commitment to keep abortion safe, legal, and rare. I was convinced to volunteer and later offered a full-time job as a medical assistant before my promotion to director of the clinic. I truly believed I was helping women, but things drastically changed in 2009. In April, I was awarded Planned Parenthood's Employee of the Year Award and invited to their annual gala where they present the Margaret Sanger Award, named for their founder. And Margaret Sanger was a racist who believed in eugenics. Her goal when founding Planned Parenthood was to eradicate the minority population.
David Mickelson, you want to check that?
Today, almost 80% of Planned Parenthood abortion facilities are strategically located in minority neighborhoods. And every year...
So that minorities have access to their services. Yeah, that's... Didn't we just get done hearing a speaker talking about healthcare disparities? But okay, yeah, I guess she didn't watch it.
Planned Parenthood celebrates its racist roots by presenting the Margaret Sanger Award. Later in August, my supervisor assigned me a new quota to meet, an abortion quota. I was expected to sell double the abortions performed the previous year. When I pushed back, underscoring Planned Parenthood's public-facing goal of decreasing abortions, I was reprimanded and told...
just FYI, guys, I don't know if David's in the room, but I just did a Snopes quick search on Margaret Sanger. They have the first one that popped up did Margaret Sanger decry Slavs and Jews as human weeds? Surprisingly, false. Anyway, moving on.
Abortion is how we make our...
This gets better. Thanks, Rogue.
...more money. But the tipping point came a month later when a physician asked me to assist with an ultrasound-guided abortion. Nothing prepared me for what I saw on the screen. An unborn baby fighting back, desperate to move away from the suction. And I'll never forget what the doctor said next. "Beam me up, Scotty." The last thing I saw was a spine twirling around in the mother's womb before succumbing to the force of the suction. On October 6th, I left the clinic, looking back only to remember why I now advocate so passionately for life. I founded and currently run And Then There Were None, a nonprofit organization that's helped nearly 600 abortion workers transition out of the industry. For most people who consider themselves pro-life, abortion is abstract. They can't even conceive of the barbarity. They don't know about the products of conception room and abortion clinics, where infant corpses are pieced back together to ensure nothing remains in the mother's wombs, or that we joked and called it the pieces of children room. You see, for me...
Well, yeah, that's medically necessary because you can't leave pieces of dead fetus inside a woman. It will cause sepsis. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, but that's... Yeah, I know you don't leave... Hey, shout out in the middle of... this is... Anyway, Chris Perazzo, thank you. Chris Perazzo just donated money on, looks like maybe Venmo or PayPal. If you'd like to do the same, do that. Since she's mentioning her cause, she's just going to get a bunch of money tonight. I don't have that kind of forum. If you want to help me do what I do and make this, I don't want to say tolerable, then go to Venmo, like Chris figured out how to do. So shout out to Chris Perazzo. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. You're already one of our PayPals. I got to figure out what to call you Venmoers as well.
Abortion is real.
Venmoers?
I know what it sounds like. I know what abortion smells like. Did you know abortion even had a smell? I've been the perpetrator to these babies, to these women. And I now support President Trump because he has done more for the unborn than any other president. During his first month in office, he banned federal funds for global health groups that promote abortion. That same year, he overturned an Obama-Biden rule that allowed government subsidy of abortion. He appointed a
That's not true. There's the Hyde Amendment. It can't.
record number of pro-life judges, including 2 Supreme Court justices. And importantly, he announced a new rule protecting the rights of healthcare workers objecting to abortion, many of whom I work with every day. Life is a core tenet of who we are as Americans. And this election is a choice between two.
Yeah, Trump used to be pro-choice. He's on record as saying that, on video as saying that. In 1990 Playboy interview, his response was, yeah, I haven't really thought about it.
Radical anti-life activist and the most pro-life president we have ever had. That's something that should compel you to action. Go door to door, make calls, talk to your neighbors and friends, and vote on November 3rd. Take action that reelects our president, and do it with our very most vulnerable Americans in mind, the ones who haven't been born yet.
No, once the kids are born, then we don't care anymore. And only if they're American children.
It began as a class trip to join thousands for the annual March for Life.
Here's the Sandman kid. Or, man, I could have gone with Enter Sandman. Could have gone with Enter. Wait. Turn off my mic, and I'm going to do that again. How do I fix the delay?
These Catholic young men traveled from Kentucky to stand up for what they believed in. But what happened was something very different.
You know it's dirty. Your day coming, young Klansmen. Look at our Make America Great Again hat.
Social media, the news, and even celebrities.
That's misleading. That was, what are they called? Blacks for Israel or something? That was not the Native American who was saying that. That was another group somewhere else on the stairs yelling that. Not him. But God, there's no reason for that. You know what? Show the group. You know why they're not going to show the black guys? I want to say African Americans for Israel, Blacks for Israel. Somebody can fact check me on that if you care. They're not showing that because they don't want to do anything because of the black voting bloc. That's why.
Launched a campaign of persecution that was completely false against a boy in a Make America Great Again hat.
The MAGA hat carries a certain connotation that provokes a conditioned reaction.
I blame that kid. What a little crap.
Everyone that sees that smug look wants to punch that kid.
Nicholas Sandmann received death threats, and his school was forced to close. Tonight, Nicholas tells his story.
Good evening. I actually feel bad for this kid. Once he's 18, I don't know, is he 18? Somebody tell me if he's 18. But yeah, I mean, nobody should ever be in that position.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick Sandman, and I'm the teenager who was defamed by the media after an encounter with a group of protesters on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial last year. Before I begin, I'd like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to share some of my story and why it matters so much to this November's election. In 2019, I attended the March for Life in Washington, D.C., where I demonstrated in defense of the unborn. Later that day, I bought a Make America Great Again hat because our president, Donald Trump, has distinguished himself as one of the most pro-life presidents in the history of our country, and I wanted to express my support for him too. Looking back now, how could I have possibly imagined that the simple act of putting on that red hat would unleash hate from the left and make myself the target of network and cable news networks nationwide?
Because it's a Make America Great hat? Yeah, so I bought this swastika. How do you, wait, I can't say it like you guys do. I say swastika because I grew up all over the planet, and that's the way I heard it when I was a kid. Swastika. So anyway, you can fill the rest of that little vignette in your head.
Being from Kentucky, the birthplace of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, Chris? Sorry, Chris is a female, as many Chris's are. Thank you, Chris. You're a good female. I don't know how I referenced you, but if I thought you were a guy, so I do know more guy Chris's than girl Chris's. Now I know one more female Chris. So thank you very much, Chris. I really appreciate the support. Whatever I said about you, the opposite in terms of gender, and in which, unless you don't identify as a gender, although it looks like you do. But thank you, I appreciate that. And also, I have a tennis ball in my hand. Oh, woo! I have an orb of magic.
My classmates and I visited the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah.
I found myself face to face with Nathan Phillips and other professional protesters looking to turn me into the latest poster child, showing why Trump is bad.
Well, no, he was trying to make his way through the crowd and up the stairs, and you stood in front of him. But, okay.
Media portrayed me as an aggressor with a relentless smirk on my face. In reality, the video confirms I was standing with my hands behind my back and an awkward smile on my face that hid two thoughts. One, don't do anything that might further agitate the man banging a drum in my face. And two, I was trying to follow a family friend's advice, never to do anything to embarrass your family, your school, or your community. Before I knew what was happening, it was over. One of Mr. Phillips' fellow agitators yelled out, "We got him. It's all right here on video. And we won, Grandpa." What I thought was a strange encounter quickly developed into a major news story, complete with video footage. My life changed forever in that one moment. The full war machine of the mainstream media revved up into attack mode. They did so without researching the full video of the incident, without ever investigating Mr. Phillips' motives, or without ever asking me for my side of the story. And do you know why? Because the truth was not important. Advancing their anti-Christian, anti-conservative, anti-Donald Trump narrative was all that mattered. And if advancing...
Well, you know, he had me until he said that the media has an anti-Christian bias. I mean, we live in the States.
Their narrative ruined the reputation and future of a teenager from Covington, Kentucky, well, so be it. That would teach him not to wear a MAGA hat. I learned what was happening.
Yeah, that's the point. Don't wear a MAGA hat. Anyway.
Happening to me had a name. It was called being canceled, as in annulled, as in revoked, as in made void. Canceled is what's happening to people around this country who refuse to be silenced by the far left. Many are being fired, humiliated, or even threatened. And often, the media is a willing participant. But I would not be canceled. I fought back hard to expose the media for what they did to me, and I won a personal victory. While much more must be done, I look forward to the day that the media returns to providing balanced, responsible, and accountable news coverage. I know President Trump hopes for that too. And I know you'll agree with me when we say that no one in this country has been a victim of unfair media coverage more than President Donald Trump.
Oh, come on.
In November, I believe this country must unite around a president who calls the media out and refuses to allow them to create a narrative instead of reporting the facts. I believe we must join a president.
You know, if the president would give us some facts, I mean, just today, the head of the FDA, Hahn, had to backtrack on his 35% of patients cured It's 3 to 4%. But anyway.
And who will challenge the media to return to objective journalism. And together, I believe we must all embrace our First Amendment rights and not hide in fear of the media or from the tech companies or from the outrage mob either. This is worth fighting for. This is worth voting for. And this is what Donald Trump stands for. Thank you all for listening to me tonight. And one more thing. Let's make America great again.
That's cool, though, that America now sucks, so that hat is applicable again. So I'd hate for him to buy the hat, and then now it's Keep America Great. He doesn't have the right hat. Man, do you feel stupid? But that's cool, because now the economy's down 33%, and 180,000 kids are dead. And so that's awesome that his hat, I'm happy for him, because I'm all about amortization. Like, if I buy a pair of skis, that's $400. I'm not going to spend... But if I go skiing twice, it's $200 per ski trip. That's still $200 for a ski. Then I go again. Oh, now it's... And then 4 times, $100 a piece, etc. If I can get that pair of rollerblades down to $2 per skate, that's what I'm all about. Does anybody else do that? I know some of you do that. Okay, here's a place, and here comes a lady.
I'm Pam Bondi.
Oh, it's
Our
Pam
party's
Bondi.
theme tonight is America, the land of...
So Trump paid her $25,000 or donated $25,000 to her campaign when she was in Florida because he was being sued by Florida for putting up the flag too tall in Mar-a-Lago or something, or paying for something out of the foundation, which was eventually shut down, and now the Trump family can't have a chair. Ah! Anyway, she's a commentator for Fox News, and she also is part of the Women for Trump campaign, and she apparently is advertising for Pepto-Bismol tonight.
Opportunity. And listening to the stories of discoveries and deliverance, you can't help but be proud to call this country home. But for Joe Biden, it's been the land of opportunism, not opportunity. As a career prosecutor and former Attorney General of...
Producer Joanna amortizes my show. Well, now I understand why you're always watching. That makes perfect sense to me. Get me down to 50 cents per show. That makes sense. Hey, if you'd like to donate 50 cents per show, like the woman, Chris... I love you all. I really do. Then you can do that by going to paypal.me. You can go to Venmo. Hey, if you can't afford to support the show, that's totally cool as well. I get that. That's where I am. Go to kevinleefather.com. But if you can't afford, share this with a friend. After this is over tonight, say, hey, I was watching this guy, and he saw a lady, a black lady with blue hair in a Trump campaign ad, and he's like, that's the Billy Joel Billie Jean dancing lady from Allentown. And then he found the clip. That's the kind of fact-checking that you're paying for. Specifically my perspective. And as we've learned tonight, the man in the family should decide the vote.
Florida, I fought corruption, and I know what it looks like, whether it's done by
taking $10,000 out of the Trump Foundation for the flag or whatever.
People wearing pinstripe suits or orange jumpsuits.
I would love to get a haircut, just you and us. Yeah, talk to Dr. Howard, because, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get a part anytime soon, but I do need a haircut. And Dr. Howard was talking about, she created a GoFundMe page to raise money to get me a haircut. But we'll talk about that after the convention. After the convention, I swear to God, we might do that.
At the Democrats' convention, we were told to look at Joe Biden